if we want to implement strategic thinking and its approaches in medical affairs, so we need to understand the cognitive framework of strategic thinking and its key components. So these are the two important topics about strategic thinking that we will cover in this tutorial. One, the cognitive framework of strategic thinking. And what exactly do we mean when we say strategic thinking is a cognitive approach or a cognitive function or process? And the second part of this tutorial, we will dedicate it to the 7 key elements of strategic thinking. And we will share also why these key elements makes a medical strategy, which is different than any other type of strategy. And that's what we mean when we say strategic thinking for medical affairs. Thank you. Let's get started.
A cognitive process means a process that can process information, remember data, and solve problems. This encompasses a range of functions, including perceiving, remembering, thinking, problem solving, and finally, language acquisition. When we refer to strategic thinking as a cognitive process, we are emphasizing the mental activities involved in formulating strategies. This is to say, strategic thinking is a way of approaching problems or situations where individuals assess their environment, consider various approaches, forecast outcomes, and make decisions that will enable them to achieve specific goals. It is definitely an inherent, future oriented process that often involves considerations of risk, resources, timelines, and contingencies. Here is a breakdown of strategic thinking as a cognitive process. 1. Analysis and synthesis. Strategic thinking involves breaking a problem down into its components, and this is the analysis, and then integrating different pieces of information and perspectives to form a cohesive whole, and this is the synthesis. Problem solving. Number 2. Individuals leverage logical reasoning, creativity, and evaluation to identify solutions to complex issues and make informed decisions. Number 3. Future forecasting, which necessitates projecting into the future, anticipating outcomes, and considering potential developments and their implications. Number 4. Planning and organizing, developing structured plans, setting goals, and organizing resources and actions effectively are essential aspects of strategic thinking. 5. Risk assessment, evaluating uncertainties, estimating impacts, and deciding on the acceptable level of risk and crucial components in the formulation of strategy. Number 6. Learning and adaptation, continuous learning from experiences and adapting strategies based on new information or changing circumstances in the environment is integral to strategic thinking. And finally, number 7, reflection. It involves self awareness, reviewing one's thought processes, assumptions, and decisions, and refining then the strategies based on insights gained.
And and that's strategic thinking as a cognitive process. We can summarize all what we mentioned in one sentence. Strategic thinking is a cognitive process that involves analyzing and synthesizing information to make long-term decisions, aiming for organizational and future success. It requires considering different scenarios, anticipating different challenges, and identifying opportunities as well in order to achieve organizational goals. While doing this process integrates creativity, problem solving, and a foresight to develop long-term strategies for a broader vision. Now, let's shift the gears and see if we understand the cognitive framework now. Let's move to break down strategic thinking into its 7 key elements. The 7 key elements that we will list down now are very important to know, but also important to consider as a framework when medical affairs teams wants to put strategies. So we don't miss any important step, whether it's related to the analysis of the ecosystem or related to writing the critical success factors and then the strategies. So this is the framework that we should follow. It is different in one aspect, as you will see, from any different strategy or, for example, commercial strategy.
Generally, strategic thinking has 7 key elements. 1. Long-term vision and mission alignment. 2. Environmental scanning and assessing industry trend. 3. Identifying internal strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this is the SWOT analysis. Number 4. Setting clear and achievable objectives. Number 5. Emphasizing a patient-centric approach. Number 6. Leveraging collaborative partnerships. And finally, number 7, adapting to dynamic changes and opportunities.
Most important is to focus on the elements of this strategy that makes it different than any other strategy, that makes it a strategy for medical affairs, not, for example, for a commercial objectives.
These 7 key elements of strategic thinking provide medical affairs managers with a structured approach to formulate and execute medical strategies that can drive long term success. And by incorporating patient centered approach, leveraging collaborative partnerships, and continuously scanning the external environment, medical affairs managers can definitely develop impactful initiatives that positively impact patient outcomes and contribute to position themselves as leaders in the healthcare industry.
What makes strategic thinking medical, or what makes it a medical affairs strategic approach, are the 3 elements starting from 5, 6, 7. So emphasizing the patient centrism or emphasizing the patient-centric approach. This differentiates the medical strategy from any other strategy. The second important element that makes it a medical strategy is leveraging the collaborative partnerships. Because we are medical affairs, we are rooted in science and evidence. However, we are working in the business. And so both internal and external collaborative partnerships are critical for us and should be considered while putting any strategic vision for medical affairs. The third important element that differentiates the medical strategic thinking from any other plan or any other strategy is adapting to the challenges and the dynamic changes. This is also important because we are working in the healthcare system, which is very evolving, very dynamic, and the changes happen every day. So what makes the strategic thinking approach different, little bit different than any other strategic thinking approach are 3 elements. Number 1, the patient centricity. Number 2, the collaborative partnerships. And number 3, the adaptability, and the ability to change and cope with the dynamic changes and opportunities. So by this, we have covered the cognitive framework of strategic thinking and also the 7 key elements of strategic thinking in medical affairs. In the next tutorial, we will discuss in details the 4 key approaches of strategic thinking in medical affairs. So thank you for your attention today and stay tuned for the next tutorial. Have a nice day.